Hello. Welcome back to the MJ Gooner podcast right here for the post-match review. Manchester City 4, Arsenal 1. And first question, it's the season over. It's the title hope over. The answer is, from my personal opinion, I think it's over. I think after that game, it's pretty much, we all know, what that defeat could potentially mean to us, and of course it means a lot to Man City. They definitely deserve the win. But before going to the game or going deep dive into the game, I've been trying to get this video out or get this podcast out a long time ago. Maybe I was actually wanted to do it on Thursday or Friday, but again, time just wouldn't allow me to for the past few days. So finally, after 3-4 days of the defeat against City, I finally have the time. I finally gather all my rationality and talk about it, because again, I don't think this is a very tough game to talk about, to be honest. Emotionally, I am in the right place compared to Southampton, West Ham, and again, I think this defeat means a lot mean a lot of things behind the scene. But personally, for me, I'm not particularly too broken or disheartened by the result, because everybody saw it coming. I know a lot of Arsenal fans, despite being very confident about the potentially we might get a result out of the Etihad, and deep down inside they know it's pretty much impossible or nearly impossible, based on the form that we're in, based on the type of football that we're playing. And again, when you're playing against City, City is a perfect demonstration of what it needs to take to be a true champion. And we were close to that, to be honest. But at the same time, it gives Arsenal, the board, coaches, the players, to think about, this is the type of mentality, this is the type of squad that you need in order to win something big. The Champions League, FA Cup, or even challenging for the title. And of course, 4-1 was certainly not the ideal score, but at the same time, I think it was a very fair score. And prior to today's game, prior to talking about this game, we knew that William Saliba, reported by David Ornstein, saying that he might be potentially be done for the season. Apparently, there's something to do with his structural, back problem, something to do with his lumbar disc at the back, which is, again, when you hurt your back, it takes a very, very long time to recover. And a lot of people are suspecting that William Saliba fell on his back against Fulham away, which we beat Fulham 3-0. And after that, of course, we had that infamous game where we lost Tomiyasu and William Saliba within the span of 3-4 minutes apart from each other. And of course, they went out very early in the game, which also led to the defeat against Sporting. I'm not saying that we're going to win that game for sure, but certainly the repercussion of having those two players out for the remainder of the season certainly going to cause a detrimental effect on the team, and this is exactly what we are seeing right here. But William Saliba, at this point, I wasn't really expecting him to be back, to be honest. I know it could have been, I think, a worse injury apparently reported in France. And turns out it was more of a day-to-day. It becomes more of a day-to-day observation, monitoring. And in the end, right now, we all have our answers towards his injury. And it's not looking good. It looks very bad at all. When giving the context of the season, having or without William Saliba, Arsenal's backline was pretty much very exposed for the past few games. Yeah, you can arguably say that, against Crystal Palace, Rob Holding was having a nice game. Leeds United were having a nice game. But to be honest, I mean, again, I'm not saying that, okay, Rob Holding individually himself caused mistake, led to the opposition scoring goals on us. I'm not saying that. Well, to be fair, Rob Holding for the past few games, I think he did fine. Not to the point where, I'm going to blame it on him or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, without the influence of William Saliba, you can see there is a big gap between, a big gap between having William Saliba, Gabriel, and also Rob Holding and Gabriel. Those two partnerships just kind of torn down because of the injury. And I'm not blaming on anybody. It was just, that part of the season where injury is going to affect us. But yeah, I mean, right now, William Saliba seems to be a big topic. Again, like I said in the last video, turns out William Saliba was the missing piece that we have been searching for, been trying to figuring out. Without Thomas Partey for a month, we did fine. Without Zinchenko for a month, we did good. Without Jesus for 3 months, we were actually doing quite well, despite that run of games in the middle of January and February, something like that. But we survived without Gabriel Jesus. And of course, we signed Trossard in this January transfer window, who, add more firepower to our front three. And of course, arguably, I can think that for the past few years in Arsenal, I think Trossard is definitely the best January signing. Of course, arguably you can say that Jose Reyes could be one of them, but of course, watching Jose Reyes was pretty much a year before I started watching Arsenal. But again, two very good players, but talking about right now, I think Trossard has been amazing. That's why, even though without Jesus, we have Trossard doing the work, who fit into the team perfectly. But right now, without William Saliba for the past 3-4 games, we can certainly see what's going on right now with the team, and it's very concerning because today, Sunday, not the best weekend for any Arsenal fans. Fulham lost to Man City, which means that City has overtaken us right now with 1 point. With them, have a game in hand, and United won, Newcastle won as well. Right now, I'm not quite worried about the title yet because, I mean, the narrative is there. A lot of people expected that, to the point where Arsenal might not be winning the league, and that's pretty much true. But right now, we just cannot. I have to emphasize the word cannot. We cannot collapse at the moment. We just cannot do that. I know we are very slim in terms of winning the league right now, but let's not collapse. Let's, trying to finish the season strong. If somehow City won the remaining of their games, I think they still have 6 more games to play. If they win that with ease, they deserve to be a champion. And for us, not this season. And like I said before, this is a perfect season for us to win something, to win a Premier League. But in reality, it's a completely different story, and we have to live with that. So what I'm saying is, after the defeat against Man City, let's not collapse, because we have 5 more games to go. Chelsea, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, Nottingham Forest away, and Wolves at home. So those 5 games are crucial. I'm not saying that we're completely out of the league title, but again, mathematically, we're still in the title race, and we have to believe in that. We have to respect that at the same time. We just have to let it play out and see what's going to happen. This is what I'm trying to establish. Do not give up hope. It's still fine to have hopes, to be honest, but you know what? even there's tiny bits, a glimpse of hope, I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans still want to hang on to it, still want to live, with that tiny bit of hope, because that's what humanity is. It's all about, having that hope for a better day tomorrow. And for Arsenal fans, we just hope for a better game next game against Chelsea. So, well, let's talk about the game. Formation completely is completely what I really what I expected. Granit Xhaka coming back from his illness, and that was about it. But again, another topic was when will Trossard will be reintroduced to the squad or will be integrated into the starting 11. Like I said in the last video, where I think Trossard has been a very influential player, but you just don't know where to put him at the moment. Gabriel Jesus is back, and you can say that for the past 2 games, including the City game, I don't think Gabriel Jesus has been amazing. Arguably, he still missed quite a lot of chances against Southampton, but in today's game, in the City's game, just completely, invisible. But again, like I said today, or in the City game, I think the bench players who came on made the game a little bit more entertaining for the Arsenal fans. Well, I'll go over that later. But that was the starting 11 that we have, pretty much unchanged, except Granit Xhaka back in the lineup. And first 6 minutes, we again, I'm not expecting much from this game. I'm expecting a loss, to be honest, but still a little bit of glimpse of hope of even drawing the game. To be honest, if we tie the game or we draw the game, I think it would still have been a fair result, a good result, even though if it's a draw. But you know what? A loss is pretty much inevitable coming to our way. So 6 minutes in, again, it shows how easy it is for Man City. Well, Kevin De Bruyne, after the game, they were playing 2-8 or 2-6. I forgot which one it was. They were playing quite deep because they know that we are going to press them hard, and we did. But the fact that is once we press them hard, it's very easy for Man City to do a perfect transition from the back, a long kick to Erling Haaland, to Kevin De Bruyne. That's how the first goal came from. Ruben Diaz was pretty much on their own corner flag, around that area. Martinelli, Xhaka, Jesus, Odegaard are kind of pushing towards that area. But once you are, once you're leaving Rob Holding and Haaland alone, it is very, very dangerous. Haaland, I think he could may as well win the Ballon d'Or this year. Why not? I mean, this guy's so good. I know a lot of fans or a lot of football fans think that he is a tap-in merchant. But let's not forget the fact that he was pretty much the base of, doing all the basic and stuff like that, but to a more advanced, skill level. Just great physique against physical battle between Holding and Haaland, and we have seen that script before, where Holding was actually holding on to his life against Erling Haaland in the FA Cup. And honestly, I think that version of Rob Holding was kind of fine, to be honest. Nobody scored in that game in the first half, but this half was a lot more, to be honest. But the fact that Erling Haaland can chest that one in front of him, giving it quite of a physique battle to Rob Holding, and just a wonderful ball to Kevin De Bruyne, and just a poor defending from Gabriel. Of course, Gabriel was trying to urge him, or trying to urge De Bruyne going to his weaker foot, but instead it shows why Kevin De Bruyne is probably one of the best central attacking midfielders in the world. Across all generation, I think he is probably one of the greats. Or I think he's definitely going to be nominated as like a Hall of Fame in the Premier League. But that finish by Kevin De Bruyne, was, again, it was a very smart finish, right? It was a very smart finish. He can, at that moment, because the fact that he spun Gabriel around gives him a little bit of a gave him a little bit of a time to adjust, what he wanted to do with the ball. But of course, it was just him, it was just him and pretty much Aaron Ramsdale in front of him, right? And why not just go for a shot? Goes for a low-driven shot to the bottom right corner, and arguably, honestly, I think Aaron Ramsdale should have done better. And even when you look on the replay, you can see that all his momentum was kind of shifted to his right side, expecting Kevin De Bruyne going for, a far post, but instead, the intelligence of Kevin De Bruyne shows why he is such a, world-class player. Instead, just buries that one in. Again, not much pace on the shot, but it was well enough to get past Aaron Ramsdale. And just like that, 6 minutes in, we're down by 1 goal. And it was going to be a long night for a lot of Arsenal fans, including myself as well. I mean, this is the biggest game, according to Arsenal fans. This was the biggest game of the season, or even for the entire decade. The fact that we are, have the ability to challenge Man City in the title race. You don't say that very often, right? I mean, as an Arsenal fan, you wouldn't believe what I just said 5 years ago. And right now, we're in that position against Man City. But Man City are just a team of great professionalism, just, all around good football players. But Pep, it's just a phenomenal coach. And after that, of course, I know I recorded this. I'm recording this 4 days after the game. I don't remember the specific. All I can remember is, certain parts of the game as well. Don't mind about the timestamp. Certainly don't remember that, but I remember we had 2 chances probably. Martinelli was on the right side, and then giving a ball to Saka and trying to cross it or trying to go for a shot. I don't know, but that was a very good move right there. Martinelli was again trying to show his versatility. Going on the left and right at the same time, still producing that kind of a threat. And of course, we have a shot. We didn't have a shot on target in the entire game, pretty much. Thomas Partey trying to side foot it to the right side of the goalpost. Ederson didn't really do much, to be honest, except his distribution for the ball. And honestly, the whole game, man of the match for Arsenal, I will have to give it to Aaron Ramsdale, because he was the reason why we were still in the game in the first half, right? There was one, of course, I would probably remember this one. I think it was a very tight angle from Haaland, and he just smashed that one to Aaron Ramsdale. But good stop right there, even though there's not much of an angle, but the fact that still making such a tough save in that situation also shows why Ramsdale was a pretty good player, a good goalkeeper, but at times still a little bit immature with his passing and his goalkeeping as well. And then there's one was, I think it was Haaland was dancing in the box, somehow find a shot with his left foot, but that was an amazing save by Aaron Ramsdale, because without him, like I said, we would have been 4 or 5 goals down in the first half, and he was the one why we were in the game. And defensively, we have been poor. Like, to be honest, I have been wanting to say this or needing to say this, but we haven't won 4 games in a row, and it's kind of gives a lot of fans the same feeling from before. The times in 2020, 2021 season where we couldn't win a single damn game in the September, October, November, December run. And I was having that, emotion as well. I was having the same feeling as well where, I'm not particularly too disappointed because this is the current state of our team. And I can't really be mad at that, to be honest. But instead, I just don't feel anything. I felt numb. The disappointment and stuff like that. Again, I'm not expecting us to win. That's why I didn't really have a high hopes up. I was expecting a fight. But in the first half, we didn't show any fight at all. I felt like we were completely disorientated from the first half of the season. The way how we played was completely unrecognizable. There was no fight. There was no spirit behind every display, every play that we were trying to make. But this is also the state of our football club, and also it also reflects on the current form that we are in. And later on, the thing is with Arsenal, like 3-4 days later, if we put on a fight, I would certainly remember some specific moment, like tiny specific moments. But again, 3 or 4 days pass and I don't remember a single damn thing from the game anymore, except the goals, because goals were the only thing that could capture a football fan's mind and brain. And I, of course, unfortunately, those goals that came from in that game was not from Arsenal, instead from Man City. Of course, it gave you a disappointing, gives you a worse impression, like in general, about the game. And I thought, you know what, at one point, 1-0 down, almost going to halftime, I thought, it's good. I mean, we were getting battered. I'm not even ashamed saying the word battered, but we got battered by Man City in the first half pretty much. I don't remember a single damn thing from the game, like I said. And a free kick right outside of the box. I forgot who committed the foul, either Xhaka or Partey, but again, it was so unnecessary. In a position like that, 35, 40 yards out, kind of on the side of the pitch, somebody who can deliver a perfect cross can potentially cause us, trouble, cause us harm. And guess what? Like I said, another dead ball coming in, another set piece coming in, and we conceded yet another set piece goal, which was also frustrating as well, considering the fact that we conceded 2 minutes before halftime break. And that was so frustrating to watch, because whatever we were playing in the first half was unrecognizable, was a disgrace, was embarrassing. Why not just, despite a one goal down, we still, a team talk in the second half or in the halftime can potentially change the outcome of the game, change the tide of the game, or even changing the state of the team. But you know what? We don't even have that opportunity, because it just, took away perfectly. And again, John Stone, a great header, but you got to talk about the VAR as well. I mean, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure what angle they were trying to figure it out. But certainly in a lot of angles, it looks like from somebody's bird eye, you thought it was an offside. But then again, I don't know what VAR was doing. I don't know what VAR was trying to do with the camera angle, trying to find possible reason to deny the goal. They're trying to give the goal. And just like that, from the right side of the angle, when you look towards John Stone, of course, when you tweak the camera angle just a little bit, it was already well deceived you enough to produce a decision making, to produce a worse outcome. Like I said, it's just a very bad outcome in general. And Ben White arguably was, he was covering, or he was a player who kept John Stone on side. Again, I mean, when you look closely, I felt like Kyle Walker, whoever was, challenging or giving a nudge with Ben White, he certainly, I think it was Kyle Walker, but I think he pushed Ben White into a offside position. And I heard about from the from the rule book or refereeing rule book, if you push somebody to an onside area, it should be considered a foul or something like that. But VR didn't look at it. Instead, they gave the goal. And that was it. Game over, 2-0. And the funny thing is, for the past few games, we have been giving away a lot of goals and making a comeback. But for this game in particular, we're not going to do that at all, isn't it? We just can't. Halftime come in, and I felt like 2-0. Arteta has to do something, has to change something. And then I think it took him long enough to make a switch, having Jorginho coming on for Xhaka, who I thought was poor. Honestly, the whole team was pretty much poor, except Ben White. In a way, I think he looks pretty good. And Ramsdale was the only one, kept the very favorable score line to Arsenal. But Bukayo Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, Partey was having one of his stinkiest performances I've ever seen in my whole life. And then I think what I forgot was Jorginho came on already, but certainly I felt like Jorginho did way better than what Xhaka and Partey did in combination. And Trossard again looks very bright as well. So what's the problem here right now? Like, nobody knows the problem, right? The thing is that I thought Arteta was going to make a change in the halftime, because that was pretty much the moment where we actually need something from the bench, right? I mean, if we made a halftime change and somehow still lose the outcome of the game, it's fine, because 2-0 against a team like Man City is just really hard to make a comeback. So why not just kind of go all out, right? So I think the substitution was right. At the same time, it was wrong. And later, after the substitution, Odegaard gave the ball away. Partey was jogging back, and it was so easy for Kevin De Bruyne to make a finish like that. It was just an overlap run to the left-hand side. Erling Haaland find him. There's no sense of urgency in our back. Rob Holding didn't close him enough. The fact that, De Bruyne score a goal through the legs of Rob Holding, but that was just poor defending in general. Not just Rob Holding, but the whole back line. I just think it was poor. Odegaard giving away the ball was really, really poor. Even in the first half, don't get me wrong. I think in the first half, there was a play where I think it was De Bruyne was kind of keeping the ball from the right-hand side, seeing Erling Haaland making a run in the middle. Partey has no sense of urgency or sense of awareness to trying to jog back to to try to mark Erling Haaland. But we were thankful that we escaped from that play, because it would have been horrendous. It would have been a totally different score line later on. But the fact that one, losing the ball was really poor. But Thomas Partey, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was carrying an injury. That's why he was playing very safe. I mean, the fact that Arsenal was trying their best, their hardest to trying to keep Thomas Partey safe or injury free, to somehow to have a display like this was completely disgraceful. Partey was jogging back, no sense of urgency, trying to stop whoever's going to score, whoever's going to make the run. Nobody. Just like that, 3-0. Arguably, a lot of people can turn off the TV after that, but I felt like, what? Despite we're losing 3-0, I'm not pissed, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed, but I'm not to the point where it was physically sicking me. I'm not that anymore, which is a good thing, because I felt like I'm getting, like I said, it went numb. My feelings went numb, and my emotion felt numb after the last 3-4 games, and all I can do is just to laugh, to be honest. And later on, nothing much going on, to be honest. I think Ramsdale in the first half, actually, that was a good save as well. I think it was a very tight angle shot from Erling Haaland, and Ramsdale kicks the ball away. That was a very good reflex. And later on, second half, Reece Nelson coming on for Saka, Smith Rowe coming on, which is a very weird cameo because in that situation you would put Fabio Vieira, and there's a lot of talks between the relationship between the manager and also Emile Smith Rowe. And right now, kind of give us, the fans, a little bit of a reassurance of where he stands in the pecking order. Fabio Vieira didn't have a chance to play at all today. And Ketia coming on as well, replacing Jesus. And I felt like, to be honest, Reece Nelson, Trossard, Jorginho, Smith Rowe, and Ketia did way better than Martinelli, Saka, and also Jesus. It's just, that's how the universe works, right? I mean, when the game gone to shit, you make a few changes, and turns out we play better. Nelson, there was one run that he made was fantastic. Was dribbling around, I don't know, I think he was dribbling around Bernardo Silva, somebody in the middle. Rodri as well. But of course, nothing came out from that play. But certainly, it was one of the brightest moments in the game for an Arsenal perspective. And later on, I was like, 3-0. It's not the best result, but why not? Get a goal. Just get a goal in any way. Just get a goal, right? Let the fans have something to cheer for. And guess what? Rob Holding, of all the people in this world, Rob Holding scored against Man City. Again, it was a poor corner kick from Trossard, retrieved the ball. Jorginho retrieved the ball, or Nelson retrieved the ball, playing a little bit of a triangle between all three of them. Trossard with another assist. And Rob Holding, when he scored, I literally laughed because, again, it was such a joke. Like, nobody was expecting Rob Holding to be in that position, and the fact that his finishing was amazing, gives us a little bit of a hope, to be honest. I felt like, 86 minutes in, we scored that goal. We still have maybe approximately 10 minutes plus, stoppage time. I thought, we might be able to get more than just one goal, right? I mean, we did that against Southampton. We scored in the 88th. We scored it in the 90th. We hit the bar on the 92nd and a few more chances after. And I thought, we might potentially can turn the game around, right? And boom, literally no sense of urgency after the goal. Rob Holding even had the audacity to smirk at his teammates, but at that point it's just having fun, isn't it? I mean, right now we're just finding stuff to celebrate about, to cheer about. And at one point, 93rd, we still have 3 more minutes to play. Erling Haaland took off his hairband, let his mighty hair flow, and guess what? He scored. He took off his hairband and scored because that's how confident he was winning the game. And to be honest, I understand there are Arsenal fans felt, such disgraceful from Erling Haaland, you already won the game already. Why do you have to mock us by taking your hairband off and scoring without your hairband? And you know what? It's a lesson. I felt the last goal right there scored by Haaland, it's a perfect humiliation to Arsenal. Think about it. A striker who wasn't, a striker who was, starting to be a little bit more playful, a little bit more relaxed, taking off his much needed accessory just for a situation like that to happen. And again, it was just a very poor defending for us. Again, it was we have to throw in. Zinchenko throw it somewhere. Somebody hits it in the middle, Julian Alvarez to Erling Haaland, and just like that, 4-1 without his hairband. And that was a perfect humiliation from Man City. I don't even blame what Haaland did, and I thought, Arsenal deserved that, conceding that 4th goal, because you just don't concede goals like that. You just don't concede anything like that in general. The whole team was already down. Why not just put a little bit more of a fight? And even today, Fulham against Man City, Fulham lost, but Fulham showed much greater fight than what Arsenal did. And I'm starting to be worried about with this whole, Arsenal team, whether we're gonna collapse or not. Well, we'll see against against Chelsea. But the game ended just like that, 4-1. Honestly, I would have taken a 3-1 loss. At one point we score, like it's not a big margin. Or even I would have taken a 3-0 loss than a 4-1. But the fact that it was a 4-1 in the end still infuriated me. And just like that, the game over. There's some tousled around between Ben White, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden. I don't know what happened it is, but at least Ben White was still in the right mindset to show some fight, to show some grit. Our team just didn't show anything, and this worries me, right? I mean, right now when I go on Twitter, people are making fun of Arsenal. Oh, the title's gone. Elephant has fallen. We bought the league. You know what? We deserve that kind of treatment, because certain type of fan base and Arsenal's fan, made us, made that banter, and it just all over the internet. And right now we just have to suffer it through. We have to understand. We have to endure what's going to happen, to us. City, we're 2 points behind. We still have a lot to play for. Of course, such a cliche to say that we have a lot more to play for. We still got it, but at the moment it just looks very slim. And like I said, I told a lot of my friends, I was telling, it's funny, live story. I know it's not quite of a related topic, but I asked, so there's a bird nest in my balcony, under my barbecue grill. I don't know how he got there. Certainly she was laying eggs there, and I have to find somebody to remove it. Turns out it was a Bulgarian pest control technician coming over, remove everything. Very nice of him. And we're talking about, he's a huge Liverpool fan. And he told me that he was very happy that, somebody was challenging, other than Liverpool, Man City are challenging for the title. Arsenal this season were challenging the title as well, which kind of gave him, a relief, because he felt like City spent a lot of money, billions every year trying to build that perfect squad, and now they do. Right now they're benefiting from the money. And to be honest, for me, yeah, of course it hurts, it hurts football, but at the same time, what more can you do? They were not found guilty, but investigation going on. But the fact that, they're not making the competition very fun anymore, which I do believe. So, and I saw somewhere on Twitter that Premier League has becoming like a League or even Bundesliga, where there's only one winner every season. And I felt like that's true with whatever Man City were building over the years. Of course, well spent for sure. Right now they won quite a lot of Premier Leagues right now, and a few FA Cups, League Cup, but not Champions League, which is something that they still have to win. Well, I can't really say much as an Arsenal fan losing to this game, so I was just gonna leave it. But the fact that, I would only feel better overall the season if we lose, and the only way to make me feel better, somewhat better, of this season is to try to win as many games as possible, finishing the season strong with 5 games left, right? Solid at second place. That's what we want. That's realistically what we want at the moment. And of course, Man City, they better win a treble this season so they can piss all the United fans. I hope they're gonna piss all the United fans in the world. And I'm sure whatever we've seen from City this season, they have been amazing. And I heard this talk from Ars blog, I think yesterday. They were talking about, if the rescheduled match against City was in the first half of the season in October during the Queen's passing, that week, I think we would put ourselves in a much greater position than right now. But of course, we can't really rely on those circumstances to win games. Instead, you have to rely on your team to win games. And yeah, I think right now I would feel better if City, win the Premier League. And of course, I want Arsenal to win the Premier League. But if they win the Premier League, I will also want them to win the Champions League and also the FA Cup. I mean, today we lost to a better team, right? Today not today. Wednesday we did not perform at a single slightest. And of course, compared to like Southampton, Liverpool, West Ham, we showed some great fight when we scored goals, but it was too late. We can also see that we are in a way better than the other team. Not so much against Liverpool, but I felt like we can get a result. That's why I was very, very disheartened, disappointed about those games. But against City, I know they're gonna win. I know they're gonna up a gear a little in this game, and we got beaten by a much better team. You know what I would say? I hands up, and I would just say, hey, you guys are a better team. You guys won. You guys deserve it. And if that's the case, using the same analogy, using the same thought, when you put those thoughts into the overall season, if somehow Man City won their last games in the Premier League, why not also win the Champions League to show, you guys are the best team? And for Arsenal fans, we can honestly say that, this season was a good one. It was a good ride, good journey, but in the end, we lost, to City, a much better team in general, and we can all say, they did a good job. Respect. That's all we can do. But right now, we have a much bigger game coming up ahead against Chelsea, which is a game that I'm not looking forward to. I don't want to look forward to that game because I know Chelsea are in a shamble right now. But the only team in this entire world, or even in the Premier League, there's only one team that can give them a certain type, certain type of happiness. Certain happiness is Arsenal, because we might be potentially dropping points against Chelsea. We might be. I'm not saying that we're 100% going to win the game, because I've been an Arsenal fan for years. I know what they're capable of. I know what they are, what they're made of. Right now, I just want our team not to collapse against Chelsea, get a good result, start from there and trying to finish the season strong. Chelsea were in the mud right now. But the fact that right now, the narratives were all against Arsenal. Aubameyang was reintroduced back into the Chelsea team by Lampard. And he played, I don't know if he started the game against Brentford, but he played that game, which means there's a possibility that Aubameyang might be playing against Arsenal. And you know how infuriating it will be if Aubameyang score a tap-in for Chelsea against Arsenal in the last minute to win the game. And he did a perfect front flip to sign off the game. And of course, Mudryk as well. We've been laughing at Mudryk because we got a much better player in the end. And Mudryk, of course, all the Arsenal fans hated him or make fun of him, mock him, because he signed a very, of course, he went to Chelsea in the end to pursue Champions League football. Of course, they're not going to be in the Champions League football. And right now, all they're fighting is for a European spot right now, but it's really, really tough. So, Mudryk, again, we have been mocking him for the past few months. He still hasn't scored a goal yet. And today, Richarlison scored against Liverpool. So, if it's a first for Richarlison, who hasn't scored any goal for Spurs in the Premier League this season, it might as well happen to Mudryk. But again, with the Arsenal squad right now, I certainly don't know what I'm going to expect on Tuesday. Hopefully a win. I've been saying this for the past 4 podcasts and nothing turns up. So should I just play the reverse jinx? I hope Arsenal lose that game. How about that? Hopefully I get the reverse jinx going on. And I forgot about this. We're back in the Champions League. Brighton lost against I forgot who they lost to. Nottingham Forest that day, which also confirmed that we will be in the Champions League. So we're in top 4. First time. Feels good. First time in 7 years, I think. 7 years the last game we played. I forgot which team we played. Oh, Bayern Munich. Of course it's Bayern Munich. We lose them, 5-1, 10-2 in the aggregate score. It was also my final year in high school. Right now, I graduated university. It shows that 7 fucking years. It has been 7 fucking years. And right now, we're back in the Champions League. Very excited, but you know what? I know we're in the Champions League spot, but that shouldn't be the focus right now. The focus is to win or to finish the season strong. However they want to do it, but as long we sit at that solid second place, I don't want Newcastle chasing us from behind. I don't want United chasing us from behind. I just want us to be second or first. Either one, I'll be very, very happy for the season. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you guys like this podcast, be sure to like this podcast on YouTube. Give it a 5-star on my Spotify or wherever, whichever platform you're listening. Be sure to leave something good for the podcast. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.